recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. At this time, we'll open up public comments. Kim Kincaid.
Yes, thank you. My name is Kim Kincaid.
Microphone for you there if you want.
My name is Kim Kincaid, and I am a retired teacher. I taught in the Maryville Community School System for 36 years. I have lived here all my life. I am a product of East Gary, Lake Station Community Schools. Actually, all East Gary at the time. My daughter also attended Lake Station schools, graduated from here as well, and proud to say currently is a teacher in Wisconsin. Changed careers with that. So I also serve as the worship leader for Community Presbyterian Church here in Lake Station. And I supervise student teachers for Calumet College St. Joseph. And we've had the pleasure of having students placed here for their clinicals and for student teaching in Lake Station schools. When I was asked by my supervisor for suggestions, I suggested Lake Station. I spoke with Dr. Kripliver, and he and my supervisor have worked together in order to get students into the community. My concern, and I understand that this is a difficult situation for the board and for the administration in dealing with having to make really what I would consider severe changes to the school year, the school day, the school week for the children. I feel for the teachers as well, but in particular for the children, because they are the product of the school corporation. You are doing your best for them, but I've got some concerns right now as to the 3-day in-person and the 2-day virtual or e-learning. My concern is we've learned from COVID, we've learned through research, and I've done a lot of reading on the subject, that in-person learning is the best. It is the best way to go. It is the best for children that are high achieving. It is absolutely the way to go for students with special needs, as well as all students in general. It's what the students need to have, is that in-person instruction, not only for their education, academically, but socially as well. They need to have that social interaction. They don't need the social interaction from social media. They need it from in-person socializing. Found there's been much research done, I've read quite a bit of it, dealing with the effects of COVID and students not being in school. And of course, they're coming out now that, oh, gee, that might not have been what was needed to be done. Well, that's just a little bit too late. What data was used to determine this type of a schedule? That would be one of my questions for the administration and for the board. And, you know, I know that this referendum did not pass in November, this past November. You know, how long was the work going on in order to determine that this was the best schedule? I understand the busing situation, I get that. When I went to school here, we didn't ride buses. Your parents either took you or you walked. That was, you know, unless you lived in a certain area, so many miles away, you walked to school or you got rides from your parents. I can't even imagine the hardship that this will place on parents, because in this day and age, that both parents have to work. If they want to survive, both parents, unfortunately, have to work. So now, what do those parents do? I also know that the referendum, in terms of the tax money, it's not huge. by any stretch of the imagination. If you're paying it within your mortgage, I think it comes out to maybe $20 a month. If you're paying it in a lump sum, you know, obviously, whatever that amount would be, is what the amount is for your taxes. My other question would be, so if the referendum doesn't pass, is that taken off the tax bill? Or does it stay there and go for something else? That's not something you can really readily find an answer to. And I'm guessing that would come from the county, I'm assuming. I'm not sure on that one I really haven't researched well. I mentioned that I work with student teachers, and we've had students here for clinicals as well as student teaching. I will be quite honest, obviously I'm not speaking on behalf of the college, but if someone were to ask me if I should place or if we should place students here, I would honestly have to say no. Because 3 days a week in person for students learning to become teachers is not, it's not good for them. And at this point, I have to look out for my students as well. So I would like to know where the data came from, the research came from to go with this type of a schedule. I would also like to just leave you with one thought. I had a principal who used to come into our class, to my classroom, to speak to the students. And it was usually prior to standardized testing time. And he would always tell the students that he wanted them to do their best, not only for themselves, but for their parents. And the students would just kind of look at him and wonder, well, why for my parents? Because if the students are successful, the schools are successful. If the schools are successful, the community grows and the community is successful. I hope the referendum passes for you all in November, because I would love to see school buses or even children walking to school 5 days a week, not 3. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kim. Kincaid? We'll go right into this time. I'd like to turn the meeting over to Dr. Kripliver.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, everyone, and also good evening to those watching us online for our regularly scheduled school board meeting. At this time, we will move into the business of the agenda. For those of you that do not have agendas, we do have some available on the table for you if you would like to follow along. Our first item of business is the consent agenda, and I'm recommending to the board this evening that they approve the consent agenda as presented with the approval of minutes, financial and fiscal, extracurricular, hirings and extracurricular resignations, and the donations that we have listed. And if I may take just a few moments to talk about the donations. The Flying J Truck Stop is donating $500 to the Eagles football program, Tranco Industrial Services, a donation of $300 to the Edison football program. George's Gyros, a donation of $300 to the Edison football program. Midwest Family Credit Union, a donation of $500 to the Edison football program. And the parents and audience members of the Music Spring Concerts donated $60 to go toward our music department. So I want to thank all of those agencies and businesses and individuals for making those financial donations to our Lake Station Community Schools and those specific programs. With that, I would recommend to the board that they approve the consent agenda as presented to you this evening.
President, so moved.
The motion, we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion on the item? Being none, we'll take the vote. Mr. Biggs?
Aye.
Ms. Curtis?
Aye.
Mr. Music?
Aye.
Mr. Wright?
Aye.
And I vote aye.
Moving on to items under personnel. Item number 1, I recommend to the board that they approve to hire Mark Chavez and Mia Wineland as teachers in our summer school program that we have going on. If I could also add that Mr. Chavez and Mrs. Wineland are special education teachers here at Edison Junior Senior High School during the regular year, and they have been with us for 15 plus years. So they are well known, not only to our teachers, parents, but also to our students. But because those teachers are hired by the Northwest Indiana Special Education Cooperative and are not teachers hired by Lake Station Schools, we have to take that step to hire them to work in our our summer school program. So that's why, even though they are well known to us, that's why I'm recommending that we hire them as a Lake Station teacher for our summer school program.
Sports pleasure,
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we pass.
a motion,
Second.
motion and second, any discussion? Take the vote, Mr. Biggs,
Aye.
Ms. Curtis,
Aye.
Mr. Music,
Aye.
Mr. Wright,
Aye.
and I vote aye.
Item number 2, I recommend to the board this evening that they accept the resignations from the following teachers effective immediately. Those teachers are Julie Mills, Ambrosia Peterson, Brooke Sterick, Danielle Patch, Tammy Tidy, and Fabiola Jimenez.
We have a motion,
Motion is so moved.
motion and second, any discussion?
Yeah, I would just like to say that I really wish them luck in their future endeavors. Really difficult to see so many teachers leave, and I won't pretend to know all their motivations or anything like that, but I can understand where they may be coming from with some of the uncertainty and things ahead, and I'm just so sorry that we're seeing them go. I wish it wasn't the case, but good luck to them.
Thank you, Mr. Music, I agree with you 100%. Any other discussion? Here now, take the vote, Mr. Biggs,
Aye.
Ms. Curtis,
Aye.
Mr. Music,
Aye.
Mr. Wright,
Aye.
and I vote aye.
Item number 3, I recommend to the board this evening that they approve the reduction in force of the following teachers effective immediately. Dan Madden, Larissa Baklevic, Judy Mitri, and Rebecca Henderson.
A motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Once again, I want to echo the same thoughts in a way. This is not a decision that we want to make at all. This is not the type of vote that we want to have to cast, not what we want to be going through in any way, shape, or form. We greatly appreciate all of our teachers. I personally appreciate everything that the teachers and staff here have done for my children and for all of our children. So this is a very difficult decision to make. We don't take it lightly, and I'm so sorry for the situation that we're in, but I do wish them luck, and I hope that they find a good spot for them to land.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Perfectly said. I couldn't have said it any better, so it's horrible that we're in this position where this is happening. Give you all the apologies I can.
And just counting, I mean, basically we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teachers that are getting repped, and that's horrible. You don't want to do that, but the number would be so much larger if we wouldn't have the resignations before that. So I just want to make sure that everybody's aware that we didn't only have to rip 5 because of the resignations, and it's all this things. Teachers are leaving us because of the uncertainty, and then the ones that we have to rip, it's just not a good situation, but it's because the referendum failed. So I wish there was a better answer for it, but I wish them all well. Hope they can move on and find steady employment. So, any other discussions? And now we'll take the vote. Mr. Biggs,
Aye.
Ms. Curtis, Mr. Music,
Aye.
Mr. Wright,
Aye.
and I vote aye.
Item number 4, under personnel, I'm recommending to the board that they accept the resignation of Deborah Cruz, Bailey School Secretary, effective May 22nd, 2024.
Mr. Chairman, make a motion, we pass.
Speak that motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Curtis. Any discussion?
My kids have a lot of good memories of Miss Cruz, and I'm sure plenty of other kids and parents do as well. So I am sad to see her go, but I do wish her luck. She's a wonderful person. We really appreciated everything that she did for us while she was here.
Thank you, Mr. Music. Any other comments, discussion? Take the vote. Mr. Biggs,
Aye.
Ms. Curtis,
Aye.
Mr. Music,
Aye.
Mr. Wright,
Aye.
and I vote aye.
Item number 5, I recommend to the board this evening that they approve to hire Brianna Alderson as the new Bailey School Secretary starting in the 24-25 school year.
Board's pleasure.
Make a motion.
A motion, we have a second.
Second.
Second. A motion, a second. Any discussion? Mr. Biggs,
Aye.
Ms. Curtis,
Aye.
Mr. Music,
Aye.
Mr. Wright,
Aye.
and I vote aye.
Moving on to items under new business. The first item I recommend to the board for information only, not for a vote, to receive for first reading the board policies and bylaws from the special updates that were issued in June of 2024 due to legislative changes. This is information given to the school board for them to review at our next regularly scheduled school board meeting. That's when I will ask the board to consider those revised and new board policies or bylaws. But this simply is for information this evening. Moving on to item number 2, I do recommend to the board for consideration to approve the changes to the 2024-2025 school year. The changes being the elimination of the early release Wednesdays and e-learning days on Tuesday and Thursdays for the first semester.
The superintendent's recommendation. What's the board's pleasure? Motion, we have a second, motion, a second. Is there any discussion?
Just to make it clear for everyone, obviously, this is removing the Wednesday early release. This is shifting to, as Mrs. Kincaid over there was talking about, the Tuesdays and Thursdays e-learning. Now, I want to recognize that I understand that this is not ideal, and this is not what we want to do. Unfortunately, this was something that we have had to prepare for to some extent in case the referendum failed. So I believe it was February of 2022, we signed the notice stating that transportation was going to have to end in February of 2025. So we had to give a 3-year notice on that. We're already having to make some adjustments to, offset some of these the costs and make sure that we can keep as many teachers as possible and staff as possible to make sure that the schools are running. This is not what we want to do. And if there's any other solutions, we're working on those. We're hoping to get somewhere with, assistance from other parties as well, but we don't have anything concrete yet. But hopefully we can find some solutions. And at the very least, I would highlight that this does say that it's for the first semester. So come November, if we are able to put the referendum on the ballot and it passes, we will be able to almost immediately transition back to full 5-day transportation, full 5 days in school. I want to make sure I make that clear to everyone that that's the 100% the intent. That's 100% what we are going to be doing should the referendum end up on the ballot in November and pass.
Thank you, Mr. Music. Any other comments, discussion? Take the vote. Mr. Biggs,
Aye.
Ms. Curtis,
Aye.
Mr. Music,
Aye.
Mr. Wright,
Aye.
and I vote aye.
Moving on to facility requests, I recommend to the board that they approve the Patio Company of Northwest Indiana to use the Edison Junior High School auditorium October 4th from 8 to 3 p.m. and October 5th from 12 noon to to 9 p.m.
Okay.
for their Hispanic Heritage event.
Heard the recommendation?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Take it to a vote. Mr. Biggs?
Aye.
Ms. Curtis?
Aye.
Mr. Music?
Aye.
Mr. Wright?
Aye.
And I vote aye.
Item number 2, I recommend to the board that they approve the Lake Station Girls Varsity Basketball Team to use the Edison Junior High School gym on June 29th, 2024, from 10 to noon for a youth basketball camp that they will host.
So moved.
Motion, second?
Second.
We got a second? Any discussion? No? Mr. Biggs?
Aye.
Ms. Curtis?
Aye.
Mr. Music?
Aye.
Mr. Wright?
Aye.
And I vote aye.
Mr. President, I have no further business to come before the board this evening, except to announce that our next regularly scheduled school board meeting will be on Wednesday, July 17th, 2024, here in the community room at Edison Junior Senior High School. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Dr. Kerpeler. Mr. Biggs, have any parting comments?
Yeah, first I want to thanks for hosting, being here at the high school again. And Miss Kincaid, thank you for your comments, and I know we take it to heart what you had to say. So, and thank you for the public that showed up today and the ones out there on our viewing people. So, thank you.
Curtis?
Absolutely. I hope everyone can hear me. I heard a lot of things from Facebook and personally, people saying our last meeting, the sound system did not work well. So I'm hoping that holding it and speaking clearly, everyone can understand. The first thing I want to say is that oddly enough, the change that has occurred in the last 20 years has got me just dumbfounded. Regardless of whether we want to accept it or not, Indiana is what is called a referendum state. They're trying to give more power back to the communities. However, legislators are preventing us from operating schools appropriately. We got stuff piled left and right, so it's very confusing. We want to be able to have all the adequate resources for each student. And I guarantee you, each person sitting up here on this board wants what's best for the student. We just have different perspectives on how to look at it. Oftentimes I hear once they see us having these board meetings that we're boring. I gotta tell you, serving on this school board is not boring. Trying to understand why even legislators do not call us back when it's becoming urgent regarding the money we need to educate the children. They don't call us back. And then they make what I consider bonehead decisions about trying to operate a local school district. So I'm down off of my soap opera there, my soapbox. And thank you very much. Thank you, Principal Stoner, for having us. And I really do appreciate each one of the people that are serving this district, teachers, parents, people working hard. It is really an honor to serve here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Curtis. Mr. Music?
Yes, so I have a few things that I want to address, and I apologize to the gentleman to my right in case I take something that they were going to bring up. But there were a few things that I wanted to make sure that I had mentioned. Obviously, with all the discussion, whether it's on social media or questions that people were asking me personally or just around that we've heard, I want to try to answer some of those. I can't get to all of them. Obviously, I try to keep an eye on things, and I'll do my best to, get answers for questions that I don't have yet. So one of the first things I wanted to mention was, of course, that we have not sold Polk School. We are renting it to the Boys and Girls Club. That rent money is used to basically help pay for the upkeep on the building. It doesn't cover all the costs of us still having the building under our umbrella, but it is a very useful resource for the families in our community. So that's part of the reason why we made that decision. I think that a lot of people would agree that the Boys and Girls Club is a very helpful organization. It gives students somewhere to go after school if they're waiting for parents to get home or anything like that. But I just want to make it clear that we have not sold the building. Something else I wanted to mention was, of course, I already mentioned that our goal is to, of course, bring back the full transportation should the referendum be made. The other side of that too is that, of course, with some of our personnel and everything, we want to bring them back as quickly as possible. That might be a little bit more of a struggle in the middle of a school year like that, but of course, we want to bring back personnel, teachers, anyone that fortunately laid off recently. Our goal is to bring them back as soon as possible, as soon as we have the means to. Again, Mrs. Kincaid, I appreciate you coming up and expressing your concerns. Obviously, I'm concerned about it as well. I've said it multiple times now. I have 3 kids that go to school here at Edison. I have a little one that's getting ready to be making her way into school as well. These are all decisions that affect my family as well. So I'm not, it's not like I don't have any kind of skin in the game, so to speak, or anything like that. These are all decisions that affect my family. My kids ride the school bus to school every day. So it's not something that we want to do. To give a little perspective as well, as you mentioned, there's a lot of households here that if there are 2 parents, which some families don't even have 2 parents in the household, but if there are 2 parents, they're both working. And how are they going to make this situation work for themselves, work for their family? And so to mirror that, I kind of wanted to use that as an example for what we do here for our operating budget. About half of our operating budget comes from our education fund. About the other half came from the referendum. So it would be similar to that 2-income household all of a sudden losing one of their incomes, and the difficult decisions that household would have to make ends meet. So it's not exactly the same, but that's just one way I wanted to frame it for you to give you some idea. It would be like if both parents were working at home and all of a sudden one of them lost their jobs. That's basically what we're dealing with now. We've lost half of the operating budget money that was coming in. And now we have to try to figure out what we can do to make sure that we can still stay above water as much as possible and still try to help the kids as best as we can. Again, e-learning is not ideal. I do think that going Tuesdays and Thursdays is our best option so that the students are in school before and after an e-learning day, so that if there's any confusion or if they need extra help, they have that in-person instruction following an e-learning day. So I think that will help. I don't think it's going to be perfect, of course, but like I said, ideally, as listed here, this is for the first semester. If we can get that referendum on the ballot and pass, we can shift gears and start making those changes as soon as possible. Other than that, I have one other question before I shut up here. I know some people were mentioning how the children aren't able to bring the Chromebooks home right now. And that is, of course, because of a safety issue. We did not want to have those Chromebooks going home and end up with a student or their family being harmed because of the safety issues. We are resolving that. We are most of the way to the resolution on getting the new Chromebooks through an agreement with HP to replace some of them, things like that. So we don't see any reason why we won't be able to have Chromebooks for every student to take home with them come the start of the school year. But we will update you if something changes on that, but I don't foresee any issues with that. So I'm sorry. This is really difficult for us. It's going to be difficult for everyone. I'm sorry that we're in this position, and I will continue to do what I can to try to help in any way. And if you have questions or anything like that, please feel free to come to a meeting and ask them. I'm paying attention to social media and trying to make sure that I answer questions there and clear things up. I can't be everywhere at once, but I'll do everything that I can. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Music. That's all right.
Yes. First, thank you to Ms. Stone for having us in the building. Appreciate it. And I know I mentioned it, and I'm going to continue to mention it because I love it. Thank you for the other principals being here and supporting this thing. I love students, no matter what building we're in. All three of you are you guys deserve to be recognized for that. A lot of stuff Mr. Music said he went in depth with that I planned on to. I'm not going to give broken record here, but I do want to say some things out of my own mouth. I'm gonna jump back real quick to the whole thing about the rumors on social media saying we sold it. Where's that money at? And there was an additional rumor of we had multiple offers and we turned them all down. These rumors you're hearing on social media from select people. There's maybe two that I've seen. It's just there's no facts or knowledge behind these. They're just pulling random things out that they want to and trying to convince all of you that it's true. We're not hiding anything. I promise you. We're not. Come to a meeting. Talk to us. We'll tell you what you want to hear. Or may not what you want to hear, but we'll tell you the truth. I assure you, we are not hiding anything from you. We're not turning down sales. We're not selling the building and hiding the money here and there. It's not what we're doing. So I'm not going to get crazy debt in that, but I'm going to go back to Mr. Statement. I can't agree with you any more than I feel the same way, right? And it's unfortunate. And when all of this was a discussion, many times we back and forth and back and forth. Well, what about this? Maybe this and maybe that. Where your research came from, me personally, okay. Our superintendent, our assistant superintendent in education, apologize, not particularly saying this, but probably as long as I've been alive, right? I put all my faith in those positions. I am here to support them and make sure we do what's best for our community, our district, our buildings.
We're having some microphone issues. Mr. Weinsberg is going to exchange those out.
Was anything I said heard?
Take
Do
two.
I need to start over? Quick recap. We didn't sell the building of Polk. We did turn down offers for Polk. We're not hiding money. We're not hiding anything from you. I apologize. I don't know what the issue was there, but hopefully we're back up and good now. Ms. Kincaid again. Those two down there, I trust everything they do when it comes to education and our students. I have their back 100%. And I continue to support them and believe in them that we're doing the right thing. Is it the best thing? No, obviously the best thing would have in 5 days, right? But it is that's we can offer at this moment. And that's where my decision was made. For me, I'm speaking for me personally. They did their research, they did their homework, they did their brainstorming, they presented us options, and I have faith in them that under our circumstances, we're doing the best we can right now. But thank you. It needed to be said. It was nice to hear, and I agree with you. The whole walking back then and now 2 households. Back then it was a lot easier to live. So you had 2 parents, you had somebody that could take somebody to the kid. Unfortunately, you said it, both parents are working if they have 2 parents, so that's not an option. So it's hard. Go back to a little bit of social media. Again, I don't know what was heard and what was not. From what I've seen on social media, there's 2 main people that are just calling us liars and this and that, and we're fabricating everything. Come ask us. We'll tell you everything. I promise you. It's not a board member up here that I know that's hiding anything, or administrator or finance or anything. We're giving you all the information. Everything we told you, you're now seeing is coming true because the referendum failed, and it's horrible. It's I don't like it, but unfortunately we have to work through it. I know myself and the board here, we are going to do everything we can to be successful if this hits the ballots again. Donators, thank you so much. Especially in a time like this, donations are huge. So we appreciate you guys still out there supporting our kiddos. I feel like I'm forgetting some things, but I'll close it at that. So.
All right. So anything left to say? Ms. Kincaid, I really admire your family, your husband, your father. You guys been in education a long time, and almost everything you said, I agree with. E-learning is not the best solution. It is not. But we have to start cutting somewhere. Then you have the solution. Well, it's the best of the parent that can stay home and e-learn their kids, or the ones that can't bring them to school. Every household is going to be different which one they can do. But unfortunately, money situation probably tilted that the way we went with the busing. Just flat out, that's because of the money, because of the referendum. So that's where kind of the research was. And if, in February, if it doesn't get put on the ballot and pass, we won't have any busing at all. So I'm not sure how that's gonna, that's really gonna affect the families we worse. But I truly appreciate you coming to take the time out. I have 4 grandkids in this that I'll be probably e-learning a third of them myself. Okay, so like Kevin said, I have skin in the game. My 80-year-old mother will be e-learning with a 5 or 7-year-old. So yes, I know it's not going to be easy, and we didn't take that decision lightly. So, but I do appreciate you coming here and expressing your opinion, which I would hope more people would do, and I'd really appreciate you being here. Okay. So then I'd like to go back into a little bit more into the social media stuff, because everybody has their opinion whether the referendum, whether they're for or against it. But the people who put out false information on social media, it just angers me. There's a gentleman named Gary Triwek, the Lake Station Troll, I think he calls himself. He put out a Instagram or whatever it was, saying that the board lied. He shows a slide saying, look right here, bus transportation was $466,104. President Greg Tenorio said it was almost $800,000. That slide actually said that's how much $466,104 is what we're going to use from the referendum. The rest of the money was what we transferred from the education fund. So for him to say that we're just lying and putting that slide up there, it makes people believe that what he's saying is just not true, and it angers me. So that 466,000 he's shown in that slide, that's what we used from the referendum money. The rest of the money to get to $800,000 we took from the education fund. Public transportation does cost almost $800,000 a year for our busing. He went on about Polk School and what we do with all that money. What we charge Polk School is $1,500 a month. And the reason it's so low is because of who it is. It is a program that we desperately need in this city. And I don't know if I'm gonna let the cat out of the bag, but we're in talks with them about opening Tuesdays and Thursdays during the school year. So hopefully some parents that can't stay home with their kids will be able to take them to boys and girls. That's still in the works. Hope I didn't let the cat out of the bag, Dr. Kriplever. We're hoping we're gonna finalize all that. But so that $1,500 a month, Mr. Trawick, basically so the building doesn't fall down around us. They're doing all the maintenance, all the cutting the grass. They put $300,000 into it. They're maintaining the building for us. That's a cost that we don't have to incur, plus the $1,500. So I'm not sure what we do with that $1,500. I'll probably change the oil of the trucks. I don't know. It's not very much money, I guess, is my point. And there's another gentleman saying that we had several offers to sell Polk School. We did not. By state law, we had to list that building on the DOE website. Dr. Kirkland, if I say anything wrong, please correct me. For 90 days, if any charter school wanted to buy it, we had to sell it to them for $1. $1. We did that, and nobody wanted to pay $1 for that building. Now we are in the market of trying to sell it for market value, and that's what we're going to try and do. So anybody out there that's saying that, Polk School, whatever, that's where we're at. We're going to try and sell it, hopefully to the Boys and Girls Clubs, but we're not sure on that. But if not, we can sell it. Now we can sell it for the fair market value of the school. So these people that go online and just spew these lies, I wish they would come here and ask questions and get information. Ms. Kincaid comes here. That's why I really appreciate you being here, Ms. Kincaid. Come here, ask questions, and don't listen to these guys that are lying. That this Gary, he was very convincing. He shows you that slide, but it's not the full detail. It's not the actual truth. So I just want to make that clear. So again, I'm very sorry about all the teachers that resigned because they're not in a stable school district. Sorry about the teachers we had to rip. I'm glad that number is lower, but it's lower because of the resignations. It's just a bad time. We really need to get that referendum passed. And if anybody really has any questions they want to be asked, please call me, any school board member, call Dr. Kripplever, come to a meeting and get the real information, and don't listen to them people online that are basically lying to you. So with that, I am gonna get done and turn it back over to Dr. Kripplever for the last thing. Oh, Ms. Peebles, do you have anything? I'm sorry.
That's okay. The one thing I would like to add to go along with what's been said, I want to make sure that there's no misunderstanding. We mentioned about the transportation and that if the referendum passes, that we would look to going back to 5 days a week of transportation as quickly as possible. And there'll be people out there who say, oh, well, see, they're trying to scare you, and because they can do transportation right away then the next day. The reason we could do that was because our last referendum payment is in December. So right now we have to be fiscally responsible and plan as though the referendum will not pass. We have to be fiscally responsible. So if the referendum were to pass, we know that our payments will continue. The December payment is the last payment of the old referendum. If the new one should pass, then that would continue with our June payment as usual. So that is the reason why we would be able to make an adjustment so quickly, because we do have until December with our very last payment. If the referendum doesn't pass, payments go away. So I want to make sure that people are aware why we'd be able to do such a quick turnaround. And that's because we have that payment in December, and then it will continue on and not then leave if the referendum were to fail. So I wanted to clarify that.
Thank you, Ms. People.
Thank you.
Dr. Kripplever, have anything else you'd like to say before we wrap this up?
The only thing I would like to add to that is I have had the pleasure of working with Mrs. Kincaid as a supervisor of students going into teaching at Calumet College of St. Joseph. I really understand her concerns over the predicaments that we're going into at this time, not wanting to place students going into teaching here in Lake Station schools. That saddens me. We've had very, very good students going into education, becoming teachers, come from Calumet College. I'm sure that will continue. And I'm hoping in the very near future, we can get back what we are used to, the programs, the teachers, the support staff that we need for our students in Lake Station schools, and renew our working professionalism and working relationship with Calumet College of St. Joseph, as well as the other higher institutions of education in the area. Our students benefit from working with those students, going to be teachers. We get the opportunity to get to know them, determine if they would be good teachers and right for our school district. And we've had the opportunity to hire some in the past from their student teaching and field experiences that they've done in our school district. So though it saddens me, I understand that we also have to protect those students in higher ed as they study to get into their chosen professions and education. But I'm looking forward to the day when we're able to have student teachers work with Calumet College of St. Joseph and restore that very positive and very good relationship that we've had for many, many years. And with that said, I'll turn it back over to the president.
Is there anybody else who would like any comments before we wrap this up? Anybody? Anybody have any comments they want to say? Board's open. Anybody have any comments? Okay, with that, we'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you.